On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we discuss OU replacing the spring game with the Crimson Combine. Then we give our top three questions for the Sooners heading into spring practice, and we give our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Wednesday, March 5th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards, and may the OU spring game rest in peace.
Yes.
Ted,
Unceremonious end.
we had heard some rumblings that something was going to happen, but I was holding out hope, man. And now we have something called the Crimson Combine. I don't even know what's going on, but hey, what was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was I'm not happy that the spring game's going away. Um, I'm a little slow to condemn the Crimson Combine without giving it a chance. I think if done right, it could actually be a lot of fun. Um, but I don't know. There's the one thing about college sports is we've had all of these things that we've always done, and I sometimes change is good. There's no doubt about that, but it just feels like little by little, just tiny bit by tiny bit, what we all knew and loved is changing right before our eyes. And I don't think you'll find very many people that would say it's changing for the better.
I I think you're right. One of the interesting things is like as of a month ago, OU was planning on having a spring game. And I think this change resulted from some discussions over these last couple of weeks once other places started canceling their games.
Yeah.
And that makes a ton of sense, right? Hey, they're all canceling it. Why would we do it?
Do you think Matt Rule knew that he was opening the Pandora's box here for the demise of the spring game in college football?
I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, calculated.
All these coaches talked behind the scenes and came to this agreement, but ultimately, I do think this is a decision that the football people at OU made because, and this is without talking to anybody about it, you got to remember Joe Castiglione's background is in marketing. Like that's how he came up in the business. And he is fully aware of how this was going to be received
Yeah.
by the fan base. So, my guess, my assumption, and I could be wrong, I don't think I am, but I think Josie and some of the administration, like they were fully aware of how this was going to be received by the fan base. But I'm assuming BV and the staff said, hey, this is what we need to do. Like, this is what's best for the program. This is what is best for winning games during the season. And here we are. I'm just kind of bummed out, man, because I love the spring game.
I do too. I mean, it's not so much that it's some great edge of your seat football game. It's just it's just one of those little, you know, check marks on your year, right? You just it's a thing that you do, and you follow along, check in, how'd spring practice go out, see some of the new faces, which there's a bunch in the sport nowadays on every roster. Especially when you got new stuff, you got new coaching staff, you got a new offense, you got a new quarterback. You want to go out and check that out, especially if we happen to be blessed with a nice day. Um, I don't know. It's a tradition. I mean, that's kind of the best way to put it. I don't know that it's super meaningful as far as what your football team looks like in the fall for the players. I mean, it's still a ton of time to develop and get better, but it's just something that we've always done. We've grown accustomed to it and resistant to change.
I always viewed it as a great opportunity for the younger players to get out and play in front of a big crowd.
Yeah.
And especially, I really hate that it's going away for like the walk on guys.
Yeah.
Guys that, especially guys that are unlikely to even be like special teams contributors. It was an opportunity for them to get out there and, go play in front of the fans. So I hate that that's going away, but I've thought a lot about it, and I think there are two main reasons they made this decision. Number one, it's all about keeping the players healthy.
Yeah.
Last year, remember last spring, they were really banged up. I mean, it got to a point where you and I were going to a scrimmage, and they weren't sure if they could put it on because they didn't have enough guys on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
And then they had all the guys get banged up in training camp, and then all the guys get banged up during the season. And I believe, just from some of the conversations I've had, that they are going to significantly reduce the workload in spring when it comes to like contact and the way that they approach practice, because I think they're willing to do whatever it takes to have a healthier football team when the season rolls around. And you hear people bring up the NFL model all the time. That's a lot like the NFL and what they do with OTAs. There's no spring games in the National Football League.
No pads until training camp. The difference is it's a fine line, and it's tough because in the NFL you're dealing with, I mean, for the
Pros.
well, yeah, but even 95% of those guys are close to a finished product. You played a ton of college football. You've gone through your developmental phase for the most part. College football, you got guys who played a year of football in high school and found out, well, hey, I'm actually really good at this. Or, you play a level of football that's not really the same sport. So there's a massive development part of that takes physicality. It takes doing tackling drills and doing combo drills and running inside and sharpening those skills or introducing those skills that some of these guys have never had. So there is a difference. You can accomplish a lot without going out there and killing each other, but there still is a fine line there of what's too much and what is absolutely a requirement to get our roster developed to where we have a bunch of good football players. It's tough.
It feels like a fine line, a tough balancing act, whatever phrase you want to use. But they got to figure it out. And remember, with the House settlement, there's that new roster cap, right? College football has been operating with 125 guys, and now it's going to be 105. So you've got 20 less guys. And let's be real also. Some of these guys are being paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing that anyone wants is for some of these players to go out there and have something, some freak accident happen in a spring game. But man, the fan base hated this announcement. I mean,
Well, I think I think the current environment also has a big impact on that. If you're coming off of a 10-win season where you made the college football playoff and you feel like everything's in a good place, well, it's probably not viewed the same as you've had a couple of disappointing years in a row, and like people are already angry enough at the product on the field, and then you start stripping things away. I mean, it's it's not the perfect environment to say we're not going to do the spring game anymore. Like Texas and Sarkisian saying it, you probably didn't hear a peep out of the fan base, just because we're kind of in different worlds right now as far as the perception of where the program is through the fans' eyes. And, I mean, honestly, and on the field. So there's differences there as well.
the vibes,
Vibes.
the vibes, not great vibes right now. But my hope is that in an ideal world, OU goes out and has a hell of a 2025, and we all go, okay, fine, no spring game anymore. We're cool. If you guys go and play and win,
Crimson Combine it is.
Crimson Combine, all right. But I do think so. I think the number one reason why they're not doing it is the health of the players, and it is what it is because football is a physical game, and you get better at football by playing football, man. You just do.
Yeah.
You got to run and lift and do all that stuff, but you get better, especially like speaking as a lineman. Got to go block people, man. Like pushing a sled ain't the same. It's just
Yeah.
not. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance all that. They're still going to scrimmage during the spring.
Yeah.
Like they're still going to go out there and fly around and have live scrimmages. I'd be shocked if they didn't. So it'll be really interesting to see what their thoughts on the practice structure and how different this looks in the spring compared to the last couple of years. But I've been told by multiple people they're scaling it back. So
Yeah.
I don't really know what that
Makes
means,
sense.
Ted, but
Yeah.
clearly the injury issues from a year ago have changed the way that they're operating over there.
I I totally understand that. And when you combine the new roster numbers, and coming off a season where I imagine everyone is gun shy about injuries, it's I mean it makes a lot of sense. And you got to imagine in spring you're down, it's 125 to 105. You pointed that out. That's 20 less guys. But then you got, I don't know how many guys that had off-season surgeries that are going to be nicked up just in spring, rolling ankles, whatever those things are. You eliminate those guys, you're down to probably 85. You subtract 20 off of there for the injured guys and guys that are dealing with stuff.
Maybe you get to 90,
And
which
then,
just happens to be
you're right.
the roster limit in the National Football League.
But
Everyone
then you're
talks about the 53 when you're in OTAs and you're in training camp before you make that roster cut. The number in the NFL is 90.
Yeah, and we've also in there, you got a bunch of guys that, when you talk about all the kickers, all the punters, the deep snappers and stuff, I mean, your numbers, you get thin really quickly, and it could be a factor in practice. So, yeah, I mean, the fact no matter how many different ways you justify it, it's still going to be a tough pill to swallow for people. It's just because we've always done it for, or at least as far as I know. I don't know when the spring game officially started, but it's something people have been going to forever.
I think one of the things that we were all most excited to see, the fan base was most excited to see in the spring game is one of the reasons they're not doing it. And that's Ben Arbuckle's offense.
Yeah.
You look at the schedule for Oklahoma in 2025. The argument can be made the Sooners have the toughest schedule in all of college football. You've got a new offense, new coordinator. I have to imagine they don't want anything, nothing on tape, signals, personnel, nothing. And I get that. Now, you could also say, well, they could just watch the last 2 years of Washington State. Fair. Very fair. But I think that's a factor here, Ted. I think Ben Arbuckle being there, like, the guy's clearly got a big personality. Seems like a fun guy. It's not like they've been trotting him out to a bunch of things.
Right.
So I think everyone in that building is fully aware of what's on the line this season. And it's one of those things where call it paranoia if you want, but they don't want to put anything out there that an opponent can look at until they're playing games.
Yeah. I mean, that's a reality in college football. The NFL has, they've got open practices, open training camp. It's something that they do. They play preseason games. You don't have that in college football. So if you can keep your cards close to the vest, you can do it. I mean, and I don't blame them at all for that. And, the thing that everyone's talking about is the transfer portal and the post-spring window and everyone evaluating your players. And I think that's a piece of it. And had they killed the post-spring transfer portal window like was rumored, and maybe going forward they do that, then maybe things will change. I think it's less about everyone else seeing your players than it is a guy has a great spring and there's a line out the door of the coach's office of everyone wanting to renegotiate their NIL deals.
I'm sure that it's hard to say that that's not a factor.
Right.
So it's just a bummer though, man. I know that a lot of people can't afford to go to a regular season game. And the spring game was always a great opportunity for some of those families to be able to go and soak it all in and kind of feel that somewhat game day feeling. And I'm definitely going to miss that. And I think maybe the thing I'll miss most of all is just being able to overreact to whatever happens in the game.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
That was the spring tradition, man. Just overreacting to whether it was an individual performance or something we saw. Like that was always really fun. And I will undoubtedly miss that.
I remember Kyler Murray throwing like 3 or 4 interceptions in the spring game after Baker left and be like, man, we're really going to miss Baker, and you always miss Baker, but not always indicative of how the fall is going to go for players.
Reminder, it was like freezing cold and ridiculously windy that day.
It was a lot like it is outside at this very moment.
It was a lot like it is today when I conducted my son's first T-ball practice with my wife. But to the kids' credit, they stayed focused. 2 stations, Ted, bat, run to first. Second station, we're going step, flex, throwing it in a bucket. Was great. Kids were incredibly cooperative. I couldn't believe it. And we were out there at PCA and it was blowing like 40 miles an hour. It was insane.
Hey, I love the focus though, able to push through the elements, get a good practice in.
Those kids got tougher today, okay? They grew today as people. But
one of those where all the kids were like, let's stay and do more, and all the parents were like, no, let's get out of here.
That's exactly what happened. It was a 37-minute practice.
Perfect.
But anything else on, like, what you gonna miss anything about the spring game before we talk about what we would like to see with the Crimson Combine. I'm still trying to get used to that name.
Yeah, I think some of the things can still carry over. Year one's going to be, I think, very important that they get it right, and whoever is in attendance, and I don't know how many people we should expect. I think weather will play. I think people, for the most part, we're going to come to the spring game, rain or shine. Maybe not stay there the whole time, but they're going to come see the spring game. This may not be the same. If you don't have a great weather day, you may not get hardly anyone there at all. So hopefully we have good weather, and I'm willing to see how this thing plays out, see what they do, and if it's a fun time and there's some entertainment factor there, then maybe I'll end up being okay with it.
I
Especially if we have a healthy spring. If we have a healthy spring and we don't have, 15 guys on the injury report going into every week of the season, then I'll end up being all for it probably.
I think I'd feel the same way, but still very sad to see the spring game go.
I know it.
I once took a supplement called Mesomorph from Ben Hamburg and Stephen Good for the first time before a spring game, and I literally thought I wasn't going to be able to play because I thought I was having a heart attack. That's probably my favorite spring game memory.
Oh my gosh, just like
I
heart
my
pounding out of
skin
your chest.
was crawling. I'm pretty sure they gave me meth, is basically what I'm saying. Like, what I was just like, guys, what did you give me? You take this every day? Are you insane?
Oh my gosh.
Such a
That's
bad
so,
idea.
I like that you thought that was the perfect day to test it out.
Dude, let's ramp this up. It's spring game day, baby. I'm going to go out there and ball. I
What was it called
literally,
again? Mesometh?
mesomorph.
Oh, okay.
Probably
Mesometh.
illegal at this point, if I had to guess. All right, let's talk about the Crimson Combine and what we would like to see. But first, hitting the highway, remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway. And with the Love's app, you can also save big. How big? 10 or 15 cents big. Save 10 cents per gallon on gas and 15 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app today and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
You listen to this podcast to get insight from the guys who played the game. Why don't you take that same approach when it comes to buying your beef? When you order from Didier Ranch, you are getting your beef directly from the people who raise it. A rancher knows what it takes to have premium quality beef. Didier Ranch has done it for over 100 years right here in Oklahoma. From delicious 21-day dry-aged ribeyes to savory steak burgers, there is no better place to get your beef. Get your beef from the guys who've done it and use code Oklahoma15 for 15% off on DidierRanch.com. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, an Oklahoma-owned company and the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. It's time to get ready for spring break and spring sports with Simple Modern. Have you seen their new getaway bag? It's perfect for lugging all the equipment to and from soccer or baseball fields all spring long. Its thick rubber sides stand up no matter what you throw at it, and if it gets dirty, you can just hose it off. It's good everywhere you'll need to go this spring. And with 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many in Oklahoma, you're also helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. So the spring game is no more, and we are left with the Crimson Combine, which was described in the press release this way. It will feature Oklahoma players and coaching staff members participating in combine-style drills, skills, challenges, on-field fan engagement activities, autograph and photo opportunities, and more. What are we expecting, man? What does this look like?
I don't know. The skills challenges you can do all kinds of cool stuff with the quarterbacks and target practice, I guess, or however you want to phrase that. Dropping the ball in the bucket, all of those things. combine style drills, are we talking about races? We we talking about like agility course type stuff? I don't know.
Like an obstacle course?
Yeah.
Maybe they should just have America Ninja Warrior come up and set up and be like, all right, let's see how athletic you guys
Yes.
really are.
Yes.
I I do think it's going to be more NFL Pro Bowl skills challengey than actual like NFL combine, right?
Right.
I don't think we're going to see 105 guys line up and run a 40. I just I can't imagine that's going to happen.
Right. I don't know. I guess maybe uh, if there's a competition style to it, you have a handful of guys from the offense and defense that compete in a handful of whatever drills they throw out there. I mean, I after thinking about, I thought originally that there was going to be like some football drills in there, but if you do any football drills at all, I'm guessing it counts as a practice, and I don't think they're going to want to burn a practice on the Crimson Combine. I could be wrong, but
Learn the name, Ted. Crimson Combine, Crimson
Crimson
Combine,
Combine.
Crimson Combine. It's not easy to say.
It's not. It's not.
For
So
someone that spits while they talk like all the time, it's really I'm struggling over here, man.
I,
Crimson Combine. It's not good.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like they're maybe want to try and get the fans going in some of the stuff as well.
They're still working on this from what I've been told. Like this is not set in stone. So like if you have a really good idea, send it to us. We will pass it along. I'm dead serious. I think that everyone involved wants to make this as good as it possibly can be. I mean, everyone knows that the fan base is disappointed that the spring game is going away, but everyone at OU wants to make this as good as it can be. So if you got some good ideas, send them our way. We'll try to pass them along. My number one thing I want to see is the kids that show up to this thing. I want to see every single one of them be able to go on the field somehow. I am not a logistics expert. That may be very difficult. That may not be a good idea at all. But if it's really about engaging the fans and creating that emotional connection with the fan base, let the kids on the field.
County fair style where maybe after the players go through the stuff, they've got the everything set up out there on the field and the kids can go out there with the players running the drills and go through it or something.
And that will make a memory that is so much more significant than anything a spring game could have done.
Yeah.
Let the kids on the field. Once again, not a logistics guy.
Right.
But if the spring game's gone, okay, kids that show up, come catch a pass from John Mateer. Hey, Johnny, run a slant. I got you. I don't know how it would work. I don't know what it looks like. But let the future Oklahoma football fans get an experience that makes them bought in for life, baby. Why
There
not?
you go. I like it. Yeah.
I don't know what you do. It's set stations up. I mean, get creative. They have creative people over there. Figure it out. But I think that's the number one, in all seriousness, that's the number one thing I would like to see is for them to really interact with the kids that are in the crowd. And they can figure out a lot of ways to do that, whether that's playing catch with them, just running around with them, doing autographs, doing pictures, whatever. Like I would love for them to really lean into those kids that show up. And that will make the parents happy.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
like
I
if the
agree.
kid is happy and is having, gets this lifelong memory, parents are going to walk away happy.
Especially if you wear them out burn some energy off those kids. Sitting in the stands, sometimes they get a little pent up energy. Get them out there, run around a little bit. Yeah, I think that's, and it sounds like that's going to be one of the key things that they've kind of built it around. You know, more interactive type stuff out there.
Next thing I want to see, other than treat the kids well, I want to see fat guys catching punts. It's just, for some reason, it's just incredibly entertaining, man.
It's one of those things. In all sports have these little things in there, but catching a punt is, it's just you get up and go to the restroom whenever the punt team's up, right? You go grab a beer, no big deal. But whenever you get out there on the field in the elements and try and catch a punt, not even with people coming down there trying to destroy you, just catch the punt whenever someone's got a big leg and it's traveling 65 yards in the air. It's one of the most difficult things that we just don't even really mention as being hard.
Did it one time at a Buffalo Bills practice. Not sure I've earned more respect doing anything in my football career than that. Very calm, cradled it, no big deal. What's up?
Hey, if you can get set up in the right spot and you're camped under it, not bad. You got to go on the move at all, or you've got some wind. That's when things start to really change.
If there's some variables up there, watch out, buddy. Which is why I want to see fat guys catching putts. Is there anything that, have you seen anything in skills challenges that the NFL have done or anything like that you want to see?
Really,
I remember when they had the student race Hollywood and they gave them the big head start. That was fun, but I don't think you could do that like 20 times. You know what I mean?
Right. What I would like to see, I'm a huge fan of relay races. And it doesn't matter if it's just a straight up sprint relay race between the offense and defense or an obstacle course, like whatever it is, big relay race fan.
How about a relay race between former players?
You signing up? You ready to
go? No. I was talking about you. I was talking about the fast people.
I'll tell you something. I do not want to get injured. More importantly, I do not want to get injured in front of 50,000 people or however many are there. Hey, do you remember that time? I've got really no interest in being the, hey, you remember the first time they did the Crimson Combine when Lehman ripped his hamstring off the bone? That was amazing. Let's do that every year now.
I want to see it. No, I don't want to see you get hurt, but I do. I want to see you open it up, man. I'm curious. You still got it? There's no way you don't still have it. Come on.
It's been a while since I've opened it up. That's for sure. This is in no way signing up. I am just saying, strictly hypothetical, I would have to start working right now just to get in any type of shape to not hurt myself.
I can just tell you, I had a discussion yesterday. I can confirm there are discussions of a possible alumni element to this whole thing.
Really? Okay.
Whispers. Flag football, 7-on-7, something like that for us old timers.
Huh. Okay.
Luckily, as a former center, whatever we do, I'm just going to have to snap someone the ball.
Oh, you're
not going to run.
No alumni one-on-ones?
That sounds like the worst thing in the world. But we'll see. We'll see if anything comes of that. Once again, they're trying to figure out how they can make this as entertaining as possible for the fan base. But I think that the target practice stuff for quarterbacks would be great, especially if you could come get a certain Tampa Bay Buccaneer to come participate in said event.
Yeah.
I think that would
That
get some people's attention.
hey, you would go from everyone hating this event to hey, this ain't so bad really quickly if you get Baker to show up. That's the effect he has.
OU football Family Feud.
Okay.
I do. I love Family Feud though, or like an OU, like OU football trivia or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if the current players won't know any of the answers, but a bunch of people in the stands will.
Yeah. No, I think all of that stuff is on the table. And the first year it may go a little rough and you figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you need more of, what you need less of. So there will be a bit of a filling out period, I'm sure. But again, I keep going back to the same thing. There's a way to pull it off that's awesome. I just don't know what that way is.
I just had this pop into my head. What about a dunk contest, but on the goalpost?
Okay.
I guess you could just roll out a
Sure.
basketball hoop and have a
Is
dunk
that what
contest.
didn't Ole Miss do
I
something
think,
like that?
yeah. So maybe this isn't an original idea, but I haven't seen anyone do a dunk contest on the goalpost.
I like that.
So you've got all these football guys that think they should be playing in the NBA.
Oh yeah.
Show me.
You're sure to have a handful of really cool ones, a handful of guys that just did does that count as a dunk? Did they get it over? And then multiple no, not even close, buddy.
I think the number one guaranteed thing is an O line versus D line tug of war. It's got to happen, right?
I like that.
Maybe multiple rounds. Maybe you have the young guys go against each other, then you have the old guys, or
I think they do quite a bit of that type of stuff in winter workouts, like they have those competition days. So I we may see some of that stuff where it appears to be just kind of one off, skills competition, but they are like they've been doing it all winter and they're really good at some of this stuff. I don't know.
I've just got ideas flowing through me now. I I think one of the things that like everyone knows that a lot of these guys are making money now. Tug of war competition, O line, D line, winner gets to give it to like whatever charity they're representing or something like that. Like, get earn earn some good faith back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like
No, I,
that.
I like that. Yeah. Very good.
Could there be a charitable component to all of this? I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any ideas? I feel like I'm just rattling off stupid things.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know what this is going to be, man. I got no clue.
yeah, I think people like to see um whatever the sport is. Like if you like golf, what do people want to see? They want to see someone drive the ball 400 yards. So, like anytime you can see guys like a quarter who throws the ball the farthest, any type of race where you get to see up close and personal without pads on how fast these guys actually are, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like just where you can see like in all of the football, like how good and how strong and how fast and some of these different things that these players are actually capable of. Anything that showcases that.
You know what would be kind of diabolical? You mentioned all the competition stuff that you do, like at the end of coaches' stations during winter workouts.
Yep.
What if they made a bunch of these young guys just like straight towel pull? They put it out on in one of their social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys, each guy gets the end of a towel. Hey, one guy has to drag the other guy 10 yards. Like we did it when I was there. I'm sure you did it when you were there, Ted.
Yeah.
You talk about, all right, let's see what some young guys are made of. Boy, that is way more pressure than playing in a spring game.
There's no doubt. Right there, one-on-one competition in front of a bunch of people is that's true competition right there. No one to bail you out. No hiding, one-on-one.
I want it. That would be, I would like that. I think that we're probably going to get like dodgeball instead of that. That's probably what we're going to get. Which,
There could be some high-level dodgeball being played out there.
did you see those moves by Valai?
I did. I saw just some of the clips. Yeah.
It's like the
Matrix.
Matrix, dude.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
I haven't even thought about what I want to see the coaches do. I do want to see how many times Valai can bench 225.
It's forever.
Just, just we're there all day.
Forever. Just keep going and going and going.
I the only one that has no interest in seeing the coaches do a combine style drill? I don't know. I kind of want to see Venables throw. Now that I think about it, it's been a while.
What, Jimmy Green Beans or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him jump in the quarterback skills competition. That could be good.
Anything else?
I'm sure the ideas will continue to flood in.
Connect
But
with
for
the
now,
fans any way you can,
yeah.
especially the young ones. I think that's a good way to go. So we'll see. I want to see you spread now so bad.
Oh my gosh.
How do you think you'd get hurt? Do you think something would pop?
Probably. I mean, I'm 43, 43 years old. I'm an old ass man.
I'm 34 and I'd be very concerned. Now, if they were doing true combine style stuff, I would be willing to challenge any O lineman in a short shuttle. I haven't run it since the combine, but I'm pretty confident.
Old muscle memory
I'm pretty confident I can still rip it
never
off pretty
leaves you.
good.
I am
But
too.
other than that, 40, no, I'm sure I'm very, very slow and something would pop. No. 7 on 7. 7 on 7, I'll snap the ball. Deal.
Yeah, that I do want to see. Like, if there's, I want to see alumni one-on-ones. I want to see you block Kelly Gregg.
I don't think Kelly and I would enjoy that at all. With the way that his elbow feels I I'm way too small now, man. That would not go well for me.
Kelly would be like, "Hey, we'll stalemate, right? We'll agree to it beforehand."
Just yeah. A brother-in-law agreement would be made there for sure. All right, let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys what you would like to see at the Crimson Combine. This first one comes from Boomer or Bust. Says bring back some of the Sooner legends and hold competitions with them versus current players. Gabe versus Troy in a snap competition, like the Dr. Pepper toss. That's funny.
That actually is good.
Oh, he said it. Mateer versus Mayfield in a throwing competition.
That
Hollywood
would be
versus
good.
Burks in a 40. Honeycutt versus Welch in a field goal competition. Things like that.
See, now that
It's a good idea.
that's good. Where you got guys that are in the game currently that could, yeah, that would be awesome.
Noah Holly says, I'd like for them to cancel whatever this is going to be. Instead, hold an open joint practice with OSU. If they really want to go to the NFL style offseason, that would align with that.
There's,
It's a fair
I've
point.
I've kind of asked that question before. If you know, if you'd get more out of that style of stuff than you would a spring game where, but the other thing is like you're you go back to the injury stuff. Anytime you introduce another team, you crank the intensity up a million times, and that's whenever guys are going to go. Well, I mean, you say you always want guys to go hard, and that's true. But anytime you do something like that, the whole dialing anything back goes out the window.
Fair. This last one comes from 212 Degrees, who says, pretty much a dog and pony show at this point. Need to show at least some value to the fans who will be footing the bill for everything. Have a fastest sooner, 40-yard dash contest, flag football, 7-on-7 scrimmage, huge sale with discounted merchandise, and then autograph/NIL opportunities.
Yeah.
I do think some people, because they're charging for it, which is interesting. I've heard a bunch of people be like, well, just give all the money to NIL. Like, we want a good football team.
Yeah. Maybe they are. I don't know. I mean, I guess in some way, in the very near future, every dollar that you spend up there, whether it's donated or you make a purchase, is all going to go into the same pile that 20.5 million is coming out of. So in some ways that will be the case in the near future if that stuff happens.
We'll see. Did we solve the Crimson Combine? Man, that is not easy for me to say. I'm gonna struggle with that.
Did we solve it?
Not our job. You know what it is our job? To broadcast whatever this is going to be, and I don't know how that's going to go, bud.
I was curious about that. Like what exactly they're going to do on that end. My guess, bunch of interviews.
We can do that. Walk around and talk to people. We got it.
Yeah. I could play by play some dodgeball pretty easy.
Really?
Well, I say that, maybe not. I don't know. Probably.
I wonder if T-Row, there's no doubt in my mind T-Row can play by play some dodgeball, and I think you can give some hard-hitting analysis. I've got all the confidence in the world in you, dude.
If Toby's there, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. We could get it handled.
That's fair. All right, let's talk about some actual football, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's give our top 3 questions heading into spring ball. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days.
Oklahoma's favorite pub, Pub W, is a modern American pub offering a great new take on classic drinks and cuisine. They offer an extensive beer and specialty drink selection with something for everyone, and that's exactly why Pub W was voted best happy hour. And we all love a delicious brunch. Pub W brunch is served Saturdays and Sundays until 2 p.m. with some of the most delicious brunch offerings you'll find anywhere. Now open in Yukon, Oklahoma. Visit one of their 6 Oklahoma locations. Visit pubdub.com for locations and menus.
Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
Spring ball starts Thursday. The reason we're recording this tonight instead of in the morning is because Brent Venables, John Mateer, Jim Nagy, they're all going to speak to the media. We'll have an in the weeds about what all of those people say and some of the things we hear from the newcomers. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. But with spring ball starting, Ted, it's an annual tradition now. What's your number one question for this football team heading into spring practice?
Well, there's a bunch of good things that you can throw out there. I'm going to start on the defensive side. And my number one question is, who's replacing Billy Bowman. Um, we're graduating some good players, Stutzman and Downs, and we saw all those guys in the combine. But the playmaking ability, the experience, the attitude, all of the things that Billy Bowman brought to that secondary, and there you can't have mistakes back there, and we've had some, but they are incredibly costly. And his experience that he brought to the secondary is going to be very difficult to replace. We got a bunch of good bodies. We got a bunch of, guys with great length, great physicality, speed, all the traits that you're looking for. But the experience factor that we're going to be missing from Billy Bowman is going to be crucial. And ultimately, those big chunk plays over the top and making sure everyone's coordinated in the right spot, making the adjustments, those are the most difficult thing. And you look at how great he was week in, week out for 4 years here. To me, that's the biggest question on the defense for me.
Peyton Bowen?
Perhaps.
Is that the natural price replacement?
He's the guy that's played the most. He's moved around, played some different spots.
Boganowski, obviously a very different player than Billy, but we saw him. Hardy.
I mean, that's the thing is there's several guys that are capable, but can someone step in and play with the consistency that Bowman had? That's going to be very, very difficult. So the competition in the safety room this spring and through training camp is going to be critical. You got some good young guys that are coming in, early arrivals. I imagine it's going to probably be a year for those guys, but whenever you start looking at some of the names like the guys you mentioned, Powers, throw him in there. We got several guys, but who could be the most consistent? That you have to have consistency at safety. So, I mean, it'll be hard to be the defense we want to be if we can't find someone that can play close to the level and consistency that we saw with Billy Bowman.
I'm not sure if this is a fair question or not. Did you become more worried about it when Billy tested as well as he did?
I think I became more worried about it after the Senior Bowl. Is the first time that it really hit, and just knowing all the things that he's done so well. But yeah, even you add the combine into the mix, and you got a guy that's incredibly strong, incredibly fast, physical, great athlete that you just put on top of all of the other great things that he does. The ability to find the ball. He's got some of the best instincts I've ever seen. Yeah, when you package all of that stuff together and it's like, oh yeah, this young guy that's looked good at times is stepping in to fill those shoes, becomes pretty ominous really quickly.
Fair enough. My top question, and maybe this is a little too specific, but how much does Ben Arbuckle and this staff believe they can run John Mateer? Because I think the answer to that question will have a significant effect on what this offense looks like in 2025. He had over 800 yards rushing last year.
Yep.
For Washington State, had 15 touchdowns on the ground, like a very productive runner. Dude can run. Dude is well built. But playing this schedule is a hell of a lot different than what he saw a year ago. So how comfortable are they with him taking hits as a runner? Because I think you have to build your offense accordingly. Remember, the spring is where you lay the foundation for everything you want to do. Now, you get into the season and you game plan some things, some of the weaknesses you've seen from opponents, but the spring, like you are going to install the core of what you're going to do as an offense. And I'm very interested in what the run game looks like because I think that's going to be determined by how comfortable they are with Mateer carrying the football as a runner. And you kind of have to build everything around that, in my opinion. So I think that's my top question for the offense is we know Mateer can run. We know he can be effective on the ground, but how much are they willing to do it? And how does that influence the way that they install things and develop things throughout the spring?
Yeah, how do they build the offense? And because we've talked about it a lot, your run game needs to tie into everything else that you do. So you need to build your play action and your counters and all of that stuff off of it. I would say that if you talk to most offensive coordinators, the answer, how much do you want your quarterback to run, is as little as possible. If he didn't have to run at all, that would be the best scenario that you could ever have. We've got an excellent run game with our backs. Our quarterback is a distributor of the football. But, whenever you've got to find an edge and make up for, some other areas that may be lacking, that's where the quarterback run game covers a bunch of things up for you. So, I would imagine that, just as a guess, I think he's going to be a large part of the running game, but I don't think they want him to be as big a part of the running game as he was at Washington State, if they can control that. But that's what we'll find out through the spring. That's why it's a good question.
We'll see. Do you just install some more give it run game? Like, hey, Mateer, you're not reading anything. You're not reading the backside defender. Now stare at him and make him think you are, but just hand the ball off. This is the play because we don't want you to don't want you to have 15 carries in a game. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what the mentality is with how they want to utilize him as a runner. All right. What's your next question, Ted?
Well, it kind of ties back into that specific question right there because, it's really going to matter on how we build our run game and what personnel packages that we're going to try and build our offense from. What's the tight end group bringing to the table? There's some Devon Mitchell, a lot of eyes on him. We brought in some guys through the transfer portal. Caden Helms, Kanik is moved over to play that H-back tight end spot. What do they bring to the table? Are we going to be an 11 personnel team? We're going to be a 12 personnel team. Are we going to be a 13 personnel team? You're going to answer a lot of those questions through the spring you've got time to develop it for sure, but they should have an idea fairly quickly. Do we have multiple guys that we're going to be able to put on the field at tight end at the same time?
Is it okay if I rephrase that question in more modern college football terms?
Sure.
How much money do we need to raise to go get tight ends in the spring portal?
Right.
Yeah. Do we need one or two? Do we need three? We got to know.
Yep.
Got to figure it out. It's no disrespect to any of those guys, but we all know that there are no proven players in that room. Just what's the investment going to need to be to go get help at that position?
The first on-field practice picture we see of Jim Nagy will probably be the arms crossed watching the tight end drills, right? Is that the first picture we're going to see from him?
That's a good prediction.
Wearing the OU visor and polo on the sidelines.
No, Jim's a smart man. Very smart man. He's going to be staring at O-line, D-line.
Okay.
He's going to have a close eye on the trenches first Make
That's
sure
right.
that all's good in that world.
Yeah.
Which, perfect segue to my second question. Who's our best offensive tackle? Who's OU's best offensive tackle? I'm very interested in that heading into spring. We got a whole lot of guys. I think there's gonna be a great battle for both of those spots. And I assume Logan Howland's gonna be very, very limited in the spring coming off the surgery. But I mean, you've got Jacob Sexton, Jake Taylor, Isaiah Autry Dent, as guys that have been here. And then you got all the newcomers. Derek Simmons, Luke Baklenko, the two freshmen, Fasusi and Foje. That's a lot of guys. But who's the best? Because I know this. When the season rolls around, there's going to be creatures coming off the edge in the SEC.
Yep.
And I think you can get by with two serviceable tackles, but I would love to have a guy that proves himself and comes out and it's like, hey, that guy is playing at a very high level. And maybe that's not fair for Fasusi and Foje because they just got there. But we've seen freshman offensive linemen play at some of the best programs in the country.
Yeah.
So that's one of my biggest questions going into spring is who is OU's best offensive tackle? I do not know the answer to that question right now. And it would be awfully nice as we start spring ball, get a couple weeks into it, if a guy or two, and in a perfect world, 3 or 4 people are going, man, these guys are playing at a really high level.
Yeah.
But Ted, I don't know who, if there's a standout in that group of
I don't
tackles.
think they know.
I'm with you. That's why it's.
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting question, and luckily, R. Mason Thomas, he's going to test every one of these guys. We know R. Mason Thomas is a good player. I'm sure Marvin Jones Jr. Like we've seen some of the flashes of what he can be as a pass rusher. Like this group's going to get weeded out. We'll see. We'll see who emerges, like who rises to the top.
Yeah. No, I think, and we've got a good group of guys that have had some action that are going to be able to go out there and mix it up. Got a couple of guys through the transfer portal and some guys baptized by fire over the last year or so. Jake Taylor, Sexton, you mentioned Logan Howland, and then we've got young guys that are coming in. So the depth feels like it should be in an okay spot to where you're not, oh my God, who are we going to play at tackle? We're going to have to move a guard or something. But I think that it feels like with that group, you have a fairly high floor and potential for breakout talent in Foje and Fasusi.
That's how it feels. All right, what's your next question?
Well, it ties right into my final question. Who plays opposite R. Mason Thomas? It was a big deal whenever he came back. And you mentioned Marvin Jones Jr. through the transfer portal, but PJ, this is a big make or break spring, off season into the fall for him. Danny Okoye, we've seen some great flashes. We did the in the weeds on Marvin Jones Jr. There's some real nice traits that he brings in some decent pass rush skills, but we have to develop some more depth there and, frankly, consistency and playmaking ability. You got to have it. You mentioned it. We're going to see creatures in this conference. Most everyone we play has two guys that are really good on the edge. And we've played good defense here. We had our Mason Thomas and Ethan Downs, what he brought. We have to have, like, that's a big hole on the defense in my mind. While I think the defense looks pretty good, you start to consider what if we don't have Billy Bowman's playmaking ability on the back end and what he brought at safety, and what if we don't have consistency at the other edge spot? Um, Things could get hairy pretty quickly. The good thing is we've got some guys with excellent traits that are set up to play those spots, but we haven't seen it in any real uh, length of time at all from anyone. Flashes, yes, but consistency is critical.
Marvin Jones Jr., all the measurables you're looking for, violence has to crank up.
Yep.
We talked about that on the In the Weeds. I still think Taylor Wine.
Yep.
I think he's the most natural replacement for Ethan Downs. Big, physical, kind of crazy. Nigel Smith is a guy we haven't seen.
That's right. True.
Very highly recruited. Walked by him a bunch on the sideline last year. Big guy. How far along has he come? So I think Okoye is more of like a
specialist.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, he's so twitchy and athletic, but can he do like all the dirty work that the position requires? If he can do that, then get that guy on the field as much as you possibly can. But I think we're also waiting. Hey, PJ, it's time, right?
That's right.
You're right. That is a big question mark on the defensive side of the ball heading into spring. And we'll probably have the exact same question heading into the fall. But
right.
And Ethan, I'll just be real. The way that Ethan tested at the combine made me go, okay, that guy played a lot of football here and
4 years.
Pretty dang good athlete and strong as hell.
Bunch of football. Played 4 straight years. True freshman all the way through senior. I mean, do you remember him missing much time at all? I mean,
no.
Incredibly durable, incredibly consistent. You may not have had a whole lot of flash plays out of him, but I mean, give me a guy that is there, ready to work, knows his job, executes it, game in, game out. I mean, you've got to have guys like that. I mean, that's the thing is we're replacing 3 main guys on our defense, and they all played a ton of football. They were big name guys and made big plays, but also the level of consistency that you got from those 3 guys is difficult to replicate.
No doubt. My last question. Let's go back to the defensive line, shall we? Has David Stone made a jump?
Yeah.
I think we all feel pretty solid about the interior of the defensive line. Grayson Halton, back. Dominic Williams, back. Jaden Jackson, back. But if you line up all of those dudes, one guy stands out from the pack physically. And it's David Stone.
Yep.
Ted, you say it all the time. Your 5 stars have to be 5 stars.
That's right.
We saw some decent stuff from David Stone last season, but we got to start seeing more.
Yeah.
And you need big time difference makers on the defensive line if you want to make some noise next season.
Yeah.
And Stone, he's got all the traits, man. It has to start coming together. And my hope is that the ascent started in winter workouts, and now we're going to start to see him get closer and closer to the ceiling of what he's going to be as a player. Got to see it, man.
I agree. I've liked everything that I saw from David Stone. Just like you mentioned it physically, he's got some really good traits, but I'm talking more. He didn't show up and say, I'm a 5-star. It's below me to have to prove it and earn my stripes and develop. I've loved his attitude the whole time. But yeah, Stone, you go back to PJ, 5-star, David Stone, Peyton Bowen, Fasusi coming in. I mean, it's early for him, but Devon Mitchell was supposed to be a 5-star tight end until he reclassified. Like these big time players have to show up. I mean, it's one thing that we see in the SEC. Yeah, they recruit well. There's 5-stars all over the place, and they show up on game day.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll get out to a couple practice, see what's what. I don't know. Like, I'm interested to see what the practice structure is like if they're trying to reduce the workload and some of the contact and trying to keep these guys as healthy as possible.
Yeah,
I find that hard to believe with Brent Venables as the head coach, but we'll see.
we'll see. Yeah, I've got my complaints about practice, and it's not even necessarily a Venables thing, but we'll see. I mean, I'll be fascinated to see what it looks like for sure.
Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. But first, if you're as passionate as we are about OU sports, here's your chance to get involved with One Oklahoma. As the official NIL partner of the University of Oklahoma, One Oklahoma is the difference that makes all the difference. As a member, your subscription will help recruit and support the athletes that become Sooner legends. But you'll also get exclusive events, videos, merchandise, giveaways, and so much more. Join the team and make an impact for your Sooners. Go to oneoklahoma.com and subscribe today. And 3 things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I love when guys get paid. Saquon Barkley, highest paid running back in the NFL. They paid it off. It's been a position that's been kind of phasing out of the NFL. Not that they're not going to use running backs, but used to running backs, first round, all of the time, year in, year out. Devote a lot of money to those guys. And I don't know, 5, 8 years ago, everyone started to say, is it really worth it? We could just kind of get a guy every couple of years and be fine there. Well, Barkley broke that trend by having an incredible year, $41 million deal over 2 years with $36 million guaranteed, breaks the $20 million a year mark at running back. Big time.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
And doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. And it feels like a reward for going and winning a Super Bowl. That's how it feels to me. But he's going to be awesome again.
It feels like we were robbed by him being on the Giants for so many years.
It does feel that way.
It's like, this isn't Saquon's second year in the league, and he's been productive. I don't mean to say that he hasn't, but my goodness, putting him in an offense with a dual threat quarterback, the things that he can do are just incredible. A spinning 180 hurdle splits over a guy in a football game is just still looks fake. So What an awesome year, and I'm glad he got paid off for it.
I'm happy for him, and I hope he keeps it rolling.
Yep.
I don't see Philly slowing down anytime soon. So
No, and he feels like he's had some injury issues in the past. Looks like he's healthy. Offense fits him really nicely. Think he's got several productive years left for sure.
bunch of weapons around him, so teams just can't focus on only him.
Yep.
It's nice. It's a nice
Very,
life for Saquon in Philly.
very nice.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
OU baseball, that damn Dallas Baptist never fails. Not only did we lose, we got run ruled 11
What
0.
I was watching too, and I was about to text you, and I had a feeling we'd cover it on here. I was like, I'll just save it. I'll save it, dude. That was, I mean, that was a rout.
Yeah. And
Sometimes it happens, but it seems to happen more with Dallas Baptist.
we're like 1-8 against them in our last 9 games.
And they're really good. What are they ranked, like 20th or something like that?
20, yeah, they're top 25 program. They're really good. Um, and it's a midweek game. They're not facing our top rotation. I don't take anything away from it. It's almost like this may be a good thing, because this is what happens with Dallas Baptist. But I was laughing about it all week. That damn Dallas Baptist. It's so funny to me. Doesn't change what I think of the baseball team at all. I thought it was funny because Dallas Baptist absolutely has our number.
There's no doubt. You've said that damn Dallas Baptist every year we've done this podcast. It feels like.
Yep, that's my saying. And they didn't disappoint. 11-0. Got on them pretty quickly and, just wrap that midweek game up pretty fast and get out of there.
Baseball's weird though.
It is.
Sooners will bounce back. No big
That's what I'm
deal.
saying. It doesn't change anything for me at all. Nothing. I feel no different about the baseball team. I think we got a great squad. It's going to be an awesome year.
It hurt though.
It hurt.
I was telling my wife we had just conducted the T-ball practice. Baseball juices were flowing.
Mhm.
I just got done telling my wife about how good the baseball team is. Fired it up, and oh boy. She's like,
Well,
huh.
it doesn't hurt if you've already 100% cooked it into your brain that it doesn't even matter. We're going to lose that game. Just, you don't even think about it. That's just how it is.
That's an
That's
interesting
that's
way
my
to live.
coping mechanism for Dallas Baptist. I gave up a long time ago.
Dallas Baptist. They'll bounce back. They'll bounce back. No doubt in my mind.
We'll
All
bounce
right,
back
let's get
this
to my
year.
winner and loser. But first,
We are public rec guys now. The hoodies are awesome. The pants are awesome. They got great looking stuff and it's extremely comfortable. Go to publicrec.com. Use promo code OKBreakdown for 20% off. Guys, you got to get some of the Public Recs pants. Versatility of their pants is fantastic. You can wear them to work because they look like dress pants, even though they feel like sweatpants. And they're also perfect for the golf course because the proprietary blend of performance materials provides the perfect combination of breathability and stretch while still holding its form. Comfortable enough for the couch, sharp enough for the city. For a limited time, you get 20% off at Public Rec by using code OKBreakdown at checkout. Just head to publicrec.com, use code OKBreakdown, and you're all set. Oh, and when they ask you how you found them, be sure to mention our show. It really helps us out. Upgrade to Public Rec and feel the difference.
and we are brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. This week, Ted, I've got my eye on the golf board.
Ooh, okay.
These are fun too. Give me Scotty Scheffler more than point 0.5 birdies or better in a matchup versus Tony Finau. And I'll take the same with Rory McIlroy versus Sam Burns.
Okay.
Got some fun golf stuff on there.
I like that head-to-head matchup. Birdies are better.
Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. My winner of the week, give me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 50 burger, 51 burger, to be exact. It was an interesting game between the Thunder and Rockets. Went and watched that one. I didn't even check the injury report, just assumed the Rockets players were going to play. No, like 5 of their top 6 didn't play. I was just like, okay, this is interesting. To those guys' credit, that team plays hard.
It
really
always
hard.
feels like it's dangerous whenever a bunch of guys sit out, right? You get those one-off performances.
The game was played at a very entertaining pace. And Shai drops 51. Thunder get their 50th win of the year. Pretty good, man. This team is 50-11.
Nuts. With plenty of basketball left to play. They probably are close to already cashing that over under win total, right? I don't know what it was, but they're creeping up there.
Shai now has 4 50-point games on the season, and
it's because of the light whistle.
Oh, it's because of free throw merchant. Those people are idiots. Idiots. But I will say, I think he's starting to really shoot the three with some confidence. He had a couple step back threes, just like no hesitation at all, letting it fly. I think he's starting to get really confident in his 3-point shot. I think it was 5 of 9 from 3. There haven't been many games in his career where he's firing up 9 threes.
Yeah. That's
Jalen Williams was 4 or 5 too. So like if our 2 best players could shoot it like that, we go be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Chet back from the ankle. No lift. It's okay. He'll get there. Not moving particularly well.
That's good though. Just get out there, get some blood flow. Critical.
Caruso re-aggravated the ankle again. It feels like that guy can't buy a break. I watched it happen. He stepped right on Jeff Green's foot.
Telling you, that's what I was talking about. Once you loosen up those ligaments, man, anytime you step on something, doesn't matter what, just rolls it. It hurts less and less every time if that makes you feel any better.
That is, Caruso was using some words that made me think it was not hurting less and less.
Right.
But you want to do a quick FGTB real quick? Mini FGTB. OU men's basketball. Joe Lunardi heading into the Missouri game has the Sooners as the first team out of the tournament somehow, some way. Hope is still alive.
We're still hanging there. Even though we've lost like 8 of our last 10, we're still hanging there by a thread. It's a game I think they can win if they put together the right game, but they got to get off to a better start. Do you know their first 10 possessions against Ole Miss were all missed shots or turnovers?
Yes. I was counting the turnovers with my son as we watched the game.
It's crazy.
I told him, don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Value the basketball.
Get up to a better start. They've played long stretches of really solid basketball, but they've had rough starts, and like we haven't finished games well, but people have also hit great shots on us. Oway from Kentucky and then Padula burying that 3. Just got to find a way to close the games out.
Or just put all your energy into the women's team.
Right.
Currently ranked number 10 in the country, 5 seed in the SEC tournament. First game for them there in Greenville will be against the winner of Georgia, Arkansas, I believe.
Think of how strange that statement is. Number 10 team in the country, 5 seed in the SEC tournament.
Good conference in women's hoops.
Yeah. I'd
Good
say so.
conference in men's hoops. Good conference in hoops.
Yep.
But yeah, there's your little mini football guys talking basketball.
Love it.
My loser of the week. When it rains, it pours, man. The Dallas Mavericks.
Jeez.
My goodness.
I
Kyrie
hated
Irving.
this one. Everything else has been kind of funny.
Yeah.
This has not been funny.
No. This sucks. If you're a basketball fan, this I mean, I do think that's an interesting point, Ted. I think Thunder fans, we've all I don't want to say we've been enjoying Mavs fans' misery, but like there's been a slight entertainment value to the entire Luka Doncic thing and all the fallout.
Right.
There's nothing entertaining about this.
Nope.
Kyrie Irving is one of the most entertaining players on the planet. Tears his ACL in the loss against the Kings on Monday night. And Ted, the Dallas Mavericks fan base is going through hell right now.
Yeah. Brutal. And, I, he's 32. Not that you can't come back from an ACL at 32. You can. He's actually about to be 33 in the 23rd of March. But it's just more difficult, I mean, you got to factor in a year to get back. I mean, maybe he's back on the court post All-Star break next year. That's a maybe.
You lose him for the rest of this year, and yeah, you're losing him for the majority of next season. And the thing about Kyrie, he's been an interesting cat throughout his career,
Yeah.
right? He's kind of been a model citizen since he got to Dallas.
100% agree.
Hasn't
Like
been a
finally
distraction.
found a place that he's happy,
It hasn't been a distraction at all. None of the goofy stuff. The flat earth thing went away.
Right.
Just has gone out there and played really entertaining high level basketball. And it's a huge bummer that he's going to be on the shelf for a significant amount of time. And with the Mavericks now, of course, Ted, I don't know if you know this, but they traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers.
I did. I had heard that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was wondering if you heard. The Lakers now the 2 seed in the West, by the way, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that for the Mavs. Now you have Kyrie tearing his ACL. You also have Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and Anthony Davis all hurt. It feels like they're cursed, man. Like there's no other way to say it.
It's brutal. Yeah, it is. It's piling on them. And if that wasn't enough, they also announced that they're going to be raising ticket prices. Weird time to announce that, but,
I
state of the franchise right now.
Nico Harrison could not be having a good time.
No.
They're currently the 10 seed in the West.
That ain't going to last.
They're not going to accomplish anything this season, even if Anthony Davis is able to come back. But do you even bring him back at this point? I wouldn't. Like, just if you're going to alienate your fan base as much as possible, just go all in.
Just go all in.
I saw Jason Gallagher tweet, this would be a good time for the Mavs to announce that they're going to increase parking prices as well. Gave me a good chuckle.
Yeah,
But
I hate that for him. I hate it for Kyrie. He's playing great basketball. He has all 3 seasons that he's been in Dallas. I hope he recovers and is able to bounce back because He is very fun to watch play.
Phoenix is going to be the play-in team then? They're a disaster. You talk about horrible vibes. If the disaster with Dallas wasn't taking place, there'd be a lot more attention on what's going on in Phoenix.
Right.
But what everyone's got approximately 20 games left, and I think the Suns are 3.5 back of Dallas or something like that. So I don't know, but to the Mavericks fans that listen to this, because there's a lot of OU Mavs fans, a lot of OU people in Dallas. Our condolences.
Sorry.
Get better soon, Kyrie.
Yep.
Want to see that guy play. He's really fun to watch. Birthday shout outs. Happy 15th birthday to Alexandra Jennings.
Happy 41st birthday to Colin Schatz.
Are you thinking that's a? I feel like your face is thinking you think that's a fake name.
It's a good one. I mean, it's a family friendly fake name if it is. If not, happy 41st birthday, Colin Schatz.
Happy 48th birthday to Tara Elliott.
And happy birthday to Juan Ebrey.
I think you nailed it. Ebrey. That's Ebrey all day for sure.
Got it.
Juan. On that note, episode 507 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Sunday. Also, check out our YouTube. We'll have an in the weeds with about what everyone says at the media availability on Wednesday for OU football. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you subscribe to podcasts, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I already said that, but I told you again because I'm reading it right there. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have an awesome weekend. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do we always do, Oklahoma? Take care of each other.